You dreamed of something last night, but upon waking the image dissolved like smoke. You have already forgotten. Your brain, however, has not forgotten. It keeps every detail, every feeling, every message it tried to send you while your consciousness slept. And tonight it will try again. And the next night and every other night of your life, your brain builds an entire universe every night just for you, and you ignore it. Today, that changes. We decided to investigate what happens in this nocturnal territory in a radically different way. We traded mysticism and old assumptions for the coldness of raw data. For this task, we used an analytical artificial intelligence system we call Numa. We had a clear goal: to find the universal patterns of the human mind, the source code behind our nightly narratives. We fed the system with the largest sleep database ever compiled, including more than 2 million dream reports, 700,000 brain activity exams, and the personal diaries of patients in psychological analysis over a century. The mission was to find the truth behind the noise, and what we discovered first took us by surprise. There is a dream that 39% of the world's population has had at least once. It crosses cultures, languages, and generations. It doesn't matter if you were born in Japan, Argentina, or Norway. Your mind knows this story. It is the dream in which your teeth fall out. The scene is always familiar. You are doing something common, perhaps talking or looking in the mirror, when you feel something strange in your mouth. A tooth is loose. You touch it with your tongue, and it falls into your hand. And then another, and another. Panic grows as you spit out teeth and blood, a sense of crumbling that feels all too real. You wake up with your heart racing. The first thing you do is run your tongue over your teeth, confirming they are still there. But the anguish of that moment is slow to fade. Why do we dream about this? In psychology, teeth are a symbol of power and confidence. They are our ability to bite into life, to defend ourselves, to assert ourselves. When you dream they are falling out, your unconscious is sending an alert. It is telling you that you feel you are losing something fundamental. Your security, your power of communication, your ability to face the world. Carl Jung, one of the pioneers in the study of the unconscious, saw teeth as the power of the word. Losing teeth, for him, signified a deep fear of not being able to express oneself, of saying the wrong thing, of feeling that your voice has no importance. Modern neuroscience added the final piece of the puzzle. During the deep sleep phase, known as REM sleep, our brain shuts down muscle control, so we don't act out our dreams. However, the jaw is an exception and often contracts. We grind our teeth without realizing it, a phenomenon called bruxism. This real physical sensation, the pressure on the teeth and gums, seeps into the dream narrative. Your brain takes this physical stimulus and translates it into the only language it knows during the night, the language of symbols. But the real meaning is deeper. Numa revealed that it is a biological alarm system. It appears when you feel that a part of your life is falling apart, when you feel you've lost control, when you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the person you see. If you've had this dream recently, your brain already knows which area of your life is in collapse. It's just waiting for you to have the courage to look. But there is another, even more common dream. One that practically everyone has experienced, the dream of falling into the void. You are in a high place or simply floating, and suddenly the ground vanishes. The fall begins. The wind hits your face. Your stomach rises to your throat, and an instant before impact you wake up with a jolt. Sometimes your whole body jumps in bed. This spasm has a name. It is the hypnic jerk, and it happens to 70% of people. There is a fascinating explanation in our genetic heritage. Our most distant ancestors slept in trees to protect themselves from predators. When the body relaxed too much upon falling asleep, the brain interpreted this loss of muscle tone as a real fall. It then sent an emergency electrical pulse to wake the body before it plummeted. Millions of years later, our biological system has not been updated. Your brain still thinks you sleep in a tree, and every night it saves you from a fall that no longer exists. But falling also has a powerful psychological meaning. Falling is the purest representation of loss of control. It is the feeling that life is slipping through your fingers, that you are holding on to something fragile that could break at any moment. If you dream of falling frequently, there is probably an area in your life that you feel is hanging by a thread, a job, a relationship, your health. The data, however, shows something that changes everything. If in the dream you fall but never hit the ground, if you start to float or wake up before impact, that changes everything. It means that although your conscious mind feels it is losing control, a deeper part of you, your unconscious, knows you will be fine. It knows you will survive because you always have. Dreams of falling and teeth being pulled out tell us about the fear of losing control and power in the physical world. But our minds possess much more complex theaters to act out deeper fears. One of the most common is the dream of being naked in public. The scene unfolds in a familiar place, a work meeting, a classroom, a busy street. Suddenly, you realize you are completely exposed. Everyone is looking at you. Panic freezes your blood. You try to cover yourself to hide, but there is nowhere to run. This dream speaks directly about vulnerability, about the fear of people seeing who you really are beneath all the masks you wear during the day. Here, the analysis of millions of reports found a crucial detail that completely changes the interpretation. The secret lies entirely in how you feel, not the setting. If in the dream you are overwhelmed by shame and anguish, it indicates there is something in your life you are hiding. A secret, an insecurity, a part of yourself you deem unacceptable and fear others will discover. Your brain is staging your greatest social fear, being judged and rejected if your truth is revealed. But the opposite also happens. If in the dream you are naked and don't care, or even feel a strange sense of freedom, the meaning is inverted. This represents a breakthrough. It means you are ready to show yourself as you truly are, that you've stopped worrying about others' opinions, that you found a path to self-acceptance. The same script can mean imprisonment or liberation. Your emotion within the dream is the true translator. But there is an even more primitive fear, the fear of annihilation. There is a nightmare even more terrifying, the dream of being chased. Something or someone is after you. Sometimes it's a faceless shadow, other times an animal, or just a presence you feel approaching. And you run, but your legs won't obey. It's as if the air has turned into water. Your movements are slow, desperately slow, and the thing chasing you gets closer and closer. Its sound grows louder, its shadow reaches you. This dream is anxiety in its purest form, transformed into a hunt. Your brain is processing something you are running away from in your real life. The analysis of countless patient therapy journals shows a direct correlation. The creature chasing you in the dream is not a real monster. That creature is, in fact, a pending conversation. It is a decision you are postponing. It is a problem you have been ignoring for months, hoping it will disappear on its own. It is an emotion you buried so deep you thought it was dead, but it isn't. And every night, when your conscious defenses drop, it emerges to hunt you. The most fascinating part is that there is a way out, a solution that appears repeatedly in the reports. If at some point in the dream you stop running and turn to face what is chasing you, something extraordinary happens. Most of the time, the creature stops. It might disappear, transform into something harmless, or even give you something, information you needed. Dreams of being chased are an invitation from your unconscious. It is saying there is something you need to face. And the more you run, the stronger and scarier your pursuer becomes. Your flight feeds the monster. The next time you have this dream, if you can catch a glimpse of awareness, try to stop. Turn around. Look into the eyes of your pursuer and ask what it wants. The answer might surprise you. This reveals a hard-to-swallow truth. The monster chasing you isn't an external entity. It is a part of you, a part you rejected. But what if the true terror isn't a chase in a dream world, but rather being awake and trapped inside your own body, unable to move while the world of nightmares invades your reality? That terror of being awake but trapped inside your own body is not a fantasy. It is a real neurological phenomenon, a glitch in the sleep matrix that affects millions of people. And to understand it, we need to go back in time to an era when what happened in our minds during the night was a complete mystery. For millennia, dreams were the territory of prophets and fortune-tellers. But in 1953, everything changed forever. In a laboratory at the University of Chicago, scientists Eugene Aserinsky and Nathaniel Kleitman were monitoring a child's sleep when they noticed something no one had ever recorded. At certain times of the night, the boy's eyes moved frantically from side to side under his eyelids, as if he were watching a movie at high speed. Intrigued, they woke him up during one of these episodes. The boy reported he was in the middle of a vivid dream. They had just discovered REM sleep, short for rapid eye movement, and with it, they opened a door to the inner workings of the nocturnal mind. What they revealed is that our sleep is not a uniform state of rest. It operates in cycles. Each cycle lasts about 90 minutes and repeats several times a night. First, we enter a lighter sleep, then a deep, restorative sleep where the body regenerates, and then the brain lights up. We enter the REM phase. Neural activity spikes to levels similar to when we are awake. Breathing and heart rate accelerate, but something crucial happens to protect us. The brain sends a command that shuts down all voluntary muscles in the body. It is a state of total paralysis called muscle atonia. The reason for this is simple and evolutionary. If you could move while dreaming, you would act out your dreams. You would run, jump, fight. Paralysis is a brilliant safety mechanism, a chemical straitjacket the brain uses so your mind can travel through impossible worlds without your body getting hurt. But sometimes this mechanism fails. Sometimes your consciousness wakes up a second before the paralysis command is deactivated. And it is in that moment that hell happens. You are lying in your bed. Your eyes are open. You see your room, but you can't move a single muscle. You try to scream, but no sound comes out. It is pure and absolute terror. And to make matters worse, in this borderline state between dream and wakefulness, the brain projects hallucinations into the real environment. Shadows move in the corner of the room. You hear whispers, and the most common sensation, that of an overwhelming presence sitting on your chest, suffocating you. For centuries, this phenomenon was the basis for legends of demons, incubi, and succubi that attacked people in their beds. Today we know it is a neurological desynchronization. Your brain woke up, but your body hasn't yet. For a few seconds that feel like an eternity, you become a ghost in your own life. The total opposite of this imprisonment is a dream that represents absolute freedom, the dream of flying. You are on the ground, and suddenly you start to rise. Without wings, without machines, you simply float. The world shrinks below you. The sensation is one of indescribable euphoria, a power and lightness that don't exist in real life. Data analysis classifies this as one of the few universally positive dreams. It appears in every culture as a symbol of transcendence and liberation. Dreaming that you fly usually means you have rid yourself of a great weight, that you have overcome a problem that held you to the ground, that you made a difficult decision that finally set you free. But the way you fly also matters. If the flight is easy and peaceful, it reflects a feeling of achievement and control over your life. If you struggle to stay in the air, falling and rising again, it may indicate that you feel success is possible, but requires immense effort. Dreams of flight are gateways to the freedom of the mind. We now understand the biological mechanics behind the stage where dreams happen. We know about the lights, the curtains, and the machinery. But that doesn't answer the most important question of all. Who writes the plays staged on this platform every night? To answer that, we need to dive into the theories of two men who changed our understanding of the human mind forever. The discovery of the biology of sleep gave us the map of the territory, but it told us nothing about the inhabitants or the laws that govern that world. The first serious attempt to decipher the meaning behind dreams came from a man who would revolutionize psychology, Sigmund Freud. In 1900, he published The Interpretation of Dreams, arguing they were the royal road to the unconscious, the main road leading to everything we hide from ourselves. For Freud, every dream is the fulfillment of a wish, but not a simple one. It is a forbidden wish, something our conscious mind considers unacceptable and therefore represses. He believed we have an internal censor, a guardian, that prevents these thoughts from surfacing. During the day, this censor is strong, but at night it relaxes, and repressed desires try to escape. Since the censor is still partially active, they need to disguise themselves, transforming into symbols and bizarre stories. Freud saw the unconscious as a dark, locked basement where we throw our traumas, fears, and most shameful impulses. For him, the dream was the noise these trapped things made during the night, trying to break down the door. While many of his ideas, especially the fixation on sexuality, are controversial, he got something fundamental right. Dreams have meaning. They speak about us. But there was someone who took Freud's keys, went down to the basement and discovered it wasn't a basement. It was an ocean. His name was Carl Gustav Jung. He began as Freud's most promising disciple, but his vision of the mind was fundamentally different, and they broke apart. To Jung, the unconscious was not just a personal trash heap. It was a vast source of wisdom, creativity, and potential. He proposed the existence of the collective unconscious, a layer of our psyche deeper than our personal memories, which we share with all of humanity. It is like a genetic heritage of the soul. In this collective ocean live the archetypes, universal patterns of meaning, the hero, the wise old man, the great mother, the trickster. These figures appear in the myths and fairy tales of all cultures and, crucially, in the dreams of each of us. When you dream of a wise old man giving you advice, you are connecting with this archetype. And remember the monster that was chasing you? To Jung, that is the manifestation of a central archetype, the shadow. It is everything you reject in yourself, everything you don't want to be, your anger, your envy, your most primitive instincts. You run from it in the dream because you run from it in life. For Jung, the goal was not to defeat the shadow, but to integrate it, to accept it as part of you to become whole. He believed that dreams do not disguise the truth. They reveal it in their own language, the language of symbols. So, which of the two was right? The archaeologist of the mind, Freud, or the mystic Jung? We presented this question directly to Numa, crossing their theories with data from millions of dream reports. The conclusion is that they were not enemies. They were simply describing different parts of the same vast continent. Freud was right about the personal unconscious, about how we process our daily conflicts and desires. Jung was right about the deeper layers, about the universal stories we all share. Freud looked back, trying to heal past traumas. Jung looked forward, trying to realize future potential. He called this the process of individuation, the journey to become who you truly are. And dreams, for him, were the map of that journey. This raises a fascinating question. If dreams show us our potential, can we interact with them? Can we wake up inside the dream and take control of the script? The idea that we can become conscious within our own dreams sounds like science fiction, but it is a documented human phenomenon for centuries. It is known as lucid dreaming. A lucid dream happens when, in the middle of the dream setting, you realize you are dreaming. You are there, experiencing everything as if it were real, the sight, the sounds, the sensations. But a part of your mind wakes up and recognizes the truth. None of this is real. It is all a creation of your mind. And the instant that consciousness awakens, the rules of the universe change. You can take control. Suddenly, the script is yours. You can decide to fly, walk through walls, or conjure objects out of nowhere. You can change the scenery with a simple thought, transforming a nightmare into a paradise. You can talk to the characters in your dream and ask what they represent. You can face your fears, knowing they cannot truly hurt you. It's like becoming the director, the screenwriter, and the lead actor of your own private movie, with an infinite budget and no laws of physics to limit you. For a long time, Western science considered lucid dreams as mere anecdotes. But in 1975, researcher Keith Hearn proved they were real in a brilliant experiment. He instructed a lucid dreamer to move their eyes in a specific pattern, left and right, as soon as they became conscious within the dream. And the dreamer succeeded. The sensors in the lab recorded the exact eye movement, a message sent from the dream world to the real world. It was proven. It is possible to be asleep and conscious at the same time. Data analysis shows that about 55% of people have had at least one spontaneous lucid dream in their lives, but only a small portion can induce them at will. There are techniques for this. The most common is the reality check. The idea is to create a habit that you will carry into the dream. During the day, several times, you stop and seriously ask yourself, "Am I dreaming?" And then you perform a test. Look at your hands. Count your fingers. Try to push the index finger of your right hand through the palm of your left hand. Read a sentence in a book, look away, and read it again. In the real world, your hands will have 5 fingers. Your finger won't pass through your palm, and the text will stay the same. But if you turn this into a habit, you will eventually ask the same question inside a dream. And then the magic happens. You will look at your hand and see 6 fingers. Your finger will pass through your palm as if it were made of smoke. The text will change completely when you try to reread it. In that moment of shock, your logical brain wakes up inside the fantasy. Lucid dreams are not just a form of nightly entertainment. They have powerful therapeutic applications. They are used with great success to treat recurring nightmares, especially in people who have suffered trauma. The logic is that if you can become conscious within the nightmare, you can change it. You can face the aggressor, transform the threat, rewrite the end of the story that haunts you. It is a way of taking back power over the images that torment you. They are also studied to enhance motor skills. Athletes who rehearse movements in lucid dreams show real improvements in their performance. The brain doesn't completely distinguish between real practice and practice in a vivid, controlled dream. The same neural connections are activated and strengthened. Imagine being able to practice a musical instrument, an important speech, or a sports technique for hours every night while your body rests. The lucid dream is proof that we are not just passive spectators in the theater of our minds. We can step onto the stage, we can take over the direction. But this capacity for control leads us to an even more mysterious and emotionally charged area. Because sometimes the dream brings us visitors we did not summon, characters who come from a place much deeper than our will. What happens when you dream of people who have already died, or of someone who broke your heart years ago? There are dreams that visit us with the delicacy of a memory and leave us with the pain of a reopened wound. They are dreams of those who are gone. You dream of a father, a grandmother, a friend who left too soon. In the dream, they are alive and well. You talk, you laugh, and for a moment death is forgotten. Upon waking in a few seconds of confusion, the joy of the dream still feels real, and then reality hits you like a cold wave, and the grief returns, as fresh and sharp as the first day. These dreams are emotionally devastating, but the psychology of grief shows us they are profoundly healing. They are the way our brain found to process loss in small doses. It is a way of saying goodbye in fragments, maintaining a connection with those we love while slowly accepting their absence. Carl Jung believed these figures are not just memories, they represent aspects of ourselves that the person symbolized. When you dream of your father, you might be dreaming of the security he provided, of the words that were never said, of the strength you need to find in yourself now. If in one of these dreams the person tells you something, pay close attention, not because it is a message from the beyond, but because it is a message from the wisest part of you, using a familiar face to deliver the guidance you need. It is your unconscious offering you comfort. But there is another type of nightly visitor that is equally disturbing. People who are still alive but are no longer part of your life. An ex-partner, a friend with whom you broke up, someone who hurt you. These people appear not because you necessarily miss them, but because they represent something your mind has not yet resolved. An open conflict, an unanswered question, a wound that never fully healed. Your brain every night reviews pending files, and these people are files you never managed to close. The dream will persist until you find some form of closure, whether through a real conversation, a letter you will never send, or simply through forgiveness. But dreams are not just a space for the heart, they are also a workshop for the brain. One of the most accepted theories is that of memory consolidation. During the night, your brain organizes and files the day's experiences, transferring what is important to long-term memory. Dreams would be the echo of this process. Another theory from evolutionary psychology is the threat simulation theory. It proposes that dreams, especially nightmares, are a training ground. Your brain puts you in dangerous situations in a safe environment so you can practice your survival reactions. A remnant from when our ancestors needed to be ready to face predators at any moment. This leads us to the most controversial and fascinating function of dreams, something science is only beginning to accept, the ability to predict the future. And before you dismiss the idea, understand that we are not talking about mystical prophecies. We are talking about data processing. To investigate this hypothesis, Numa analyzed thousands of dream journals and correlated them with subsequent events in people's lives. The result indicates that the brain functions as a powerful probability computer. During the day, you are bombarded by thousands of pieces of information, most of which your conscious mind ignores. A micro-expression of disappointment on your boss's face, a slightly different tone of voice from your partner, a small detail in a report that seems insignificant. You don't notice, but your brain records everything. At night, free from the distractions of the world, it begins to connect these dots. It finds patterns you didn't see and calculates the most likely outcome. This conclusion is then presented to you in the form of a dream. It is just your brain operating at a smarter frequency. This is why so many people dream they are being cheated on weeks before discovering an infidelity, or have a bad feeling about a deal that ends up going wrong. Your unconscious saw the warning signs. It tried to warn you. The problem is that we almost never listen to this voice. This powerful system of processing, grieving, and forecasting works every night. But how can we access this information consciously? How can we finally learn to read the letters our mind sends us? Accessing this vast nocturnal intelligence seems like an impossible task, mainly because dreams are so fleeting. They dissolve like sand through fingers seconds after we wake up. But why does this happen? Forgetting is not a failure, it is a design. Your brain actively erases dream memories, a system cleanup so you have a blank canvas for the day that begins, so the rules and narratives of the dream world don't mix with reality. But we can intervene in this process. We can learn to save these files before they are deleted. It all starts with a clear instruction given to yourself before sleeping. Tell yourself out loud or in thought, "Tonight I will remember my dreams." It sounds too simple to work, but it is a direct command to your brain. You are signaling that this information, normally discarded, now has priority. The second step is practical. Keep a notebook or phone by the bed. The memory of a dream has a shelf life of only a few minutes. If you don't capture it immediately, it's gone forever. Upon waking, before anything else, do not move. Stay in the same position you woke up in. Close your eyes again and try to fish for the fragments still floating in your mind. And then write. Don't worry about making sense. Jot down keywords, emotions, loose images. You are rescuing the wreckage of a sunken ship, not writing a novel. Do this for 2 weeks, and something remarkable will start to happen. Your brain will get the message that you are paying attention and will start delivering more vivid and detailed dreams. The third step is the search for patterns. After a while, read your dream journal like a detective. Look for places that repeat, people who always return, emotions that are a constant. Forget the dream dictionaries on the internet. They are useless. Your brain doesn't use a universal vocabulary. It uses yours. If you repeatedly dream you are lost, it's because there is an area in your life where you feel directionless. The pattern is the message, not the isolated dream. And when you finally understand the message and act on it in real life, the dream stops repeating. It has fulfilled its function. A few years ago, the analysis of a recurring dream pattern in numerous data led us to a powerful metaphor. A man repeatedly dreamed he lived in a gigantic mansion with hundreds of rooms, but he only used one small, dark room near the entrance. One night, in the dream, he decided to explore. He opened doors and found libraries with books he had never read, studios with tools he had never used, indoor gardens with plants he had never seen. He woke up with overwhelming clarity. That dream was a map of his own psyche. He was living a tiny life, ignoring the immense potential that existed within him. Your dreams don't just show you your fears, they show you the size of the house you inhabit. In the end, perhaps the best image for our mind is that of an ocean. During the day, we live on the lit surface where things are clear and predictable. But below this surface exist immense depths, dark and full of life. Every night when you dream, you dive into these depths. It is a nightly dive into the ocean of yourself. And each immersion brings something back, a pearl of wisdom, a fragment of a forgotten treasure, the vision of a creature that lives in the abyss. You don't need to understand everything or illuminate every dark corner. You only need to have the courage to dive. Tonight you will close your eyes and your mind will create an entire universe just for you. And tomorrow morning, if you choose to pay attention, a fragment of that journey might survive. And in that fragment, there will be a message coming directly from the deepest and wisest part of you. The part that can only speak when the rest of the world falls silent. Dreams are a letter you write to yourself every night. Now you need to decide. Are you finally going to start reading? If you enjoyed this investigation, your subscription to the channel and any donation help us expand the Numa project. We would love to read your reflection on the video subject in the comments and your suggestion for the next topic to be addressed. Tell us which city you are following us from. I thank you for your company until the end. M.